they say good things come in threes, so the odds are stacked against me to produce a quality 4th episode. But fuck them, I'll take those odds. But before we start, we had promised a brand new jingle for episode 4. Now Grant's gone off and sourced Thomas Oliver to produce this one. So he and I have been in the studio, and this is what we've come up with. Shall we give it a whirl, Grant? Right.
SOS.
What are you saying that for? What's happened?
No, it means stream of subconsciousness.
Clever.
By Chris Drabble.
That's me.
Produced by Grant.
Probably didn't need to mention him.
Just let me do the song.
Fine. Might throw in a harmony.
This is SOS. Chris Drabble, stream of subconsciousness.
It's quirky. No, I really like that. I think Thomas has done a brilliant job there. What do you think, Grant? We should probably organise some kind of payment for him, yeah? No, I mean, I've got nothing. Do you have anything? We really should start paying our employees. In the last episode, I had complained about having a really damp room. You'll be glad to know that that's sorted. You might not be that glad. I'm glad. It affects me more than you. It all came to a head when I woke up one morning. Dampness everywhere. And it got so bad that my computer, my 27-inch Mac, $3,600 for that one, had actually frosted over. There was frost and moisture all over the screen on my computer. Now, I'm not as worried about my health, about dampness affecting my health, but as soon as it starts to affect my computer, that's when something has to be done. But effectively, my computer had ice over the screen, and I bought an expensive one so that it wouldn't freeze. So I was really ticked off about that. But what I did was took a dehumidifier from downstairs and brought it up here, and they're brilliant. Not only do they suck all the moisture out of the air, but they also provide you with a reservoir of water for when you're thirsty in the middle of the night. It's sort of a dehumidifier / beverage maker. So it's a 2-in-1 utility. And that's how technology is advancing these days. You wouldn't go and buy a product which only has one function. Products need a multitude of functions these days. You don't buy a cell phone just to make calls. You now buy a cell phone which has the capability of sending emails, or you can, if you want, fire an angry bird across the sky into a plethora of pigs, if that is something that you feel is necessary in your life. But everything does everything these days. Soon, there'll just be one product. There won't be all these products, because the more and more products develop, the more functions they get, product numbers decrease. So you follow my logic, one day you'll go to Harvey Norman, and there'll just be one product on the shelf. And it would take care of everything that needs to be taken care of around the house. It would send emails, it would make toast, anything. That's the future. That's how I predict it anyway. Others predict it differently. Some people think everything's going to end next year, 2012, which would be a shame. It seems like a pretty inconvenient time for an apocalypse, 2012. A lot of good things going on. I wonder how many people actually wholeheartedly invest themselves into the idea that the world is going to end in 2012. Are people preparing themselves? Can you prepare yourself for an apocalypse? It's surely not like having a survival kit for an earthquake, say, where you have canned food and water and a radio and a flashlight. You have your earthquake kit. I'm not sure that an apocalypse kit would have that much effect, because if you do survive, then effectively it's not an apocalypse, is it? So how are people preparing themselves? I guess you could kind of start ticking off items on your bucket list, living life to the full. Or you could take the opposite approach and just say, screw it, what's the point? The planet's going to blow up next year, so I won't take out the trash. The first option's probably the more appropriate, if you do in fact invest yourself into the notion of 2012. I think that life should be treated as a bucket list anyway. Why do you have to be dying to go out and enjoy the things you like doing or the things you want to do? Don't let cancer make you form a bucket list. You should make a bucket list when you're born, or maybe when you learn to write. It might be quite hard to write a list as an infant. It could be one of the projects you do in primary school. I guess as a primary school kid, your expectations might be a little bit high or completely unrealistic. When I was a little kid, I wanted to play with dinosaurs. Now that I'm grown up, don't really care for dinosaurs. Don't get me started on them. Oh, look at me! I'm a dinosaur, I can't even exist! Waste of space. I wonder if they stopped taking out the trash when they knew that a big meteor was coming. Be interesting. They probably didn't know that one was coming. They didn't have people or dinosaurs to predict what would happen next, like we do, thankfully. I put thankfully in inverted commas. I don't invest myself in the whole psychic realm too much. If you want to predict something, go to the TAB, make some money out of it, or lose a lot of money out of it. That's what I find generally happens to me. The odds of me winning any money are pretty slim. So why can't I bet on those odds? Why can't I bet on the fact that I probably won't win any money? And then I'll make money out of not making any money. Or at least let me bet on the white fluffy thing that features in the dog races. That thing comes in first every time. That's why the dogs attack it at the end of the race. They're jealous. So I'll put my money on that, thanks. Or just steer clear of gambling altogether. It's a destructive habit. It destroys families. I've heard stories of fathers not being able to pay the child support because they've gambled their money away. But child support is a whole other issue, one that I don't understand fully, being 50% responsible for the child, when really the father didn't do 50% of the work to produce that child, let's be honest. He's lent an ingredient and the woman's done the rest. Her reproductive organs have taken it from there. It's like the neighbour pops round and asks to borrow a cup of flour because they're baking a cake. So they say, yeah, sure, there you go. Then an hour later, walk over there. Oh, hi, is that cake ready yet? Yeah, it is. It's just out of the oven now. I'll take half then, thanks. I'm entitled to it. No, you're not. You can sod off. Right, well, why the hell am I then paying for half of my child when all I did was lend some sperm? Oh, I didn't know you were. I'm just your neighbour. I'm just trying to bake a cake here. You probably want to take that one up with the government. But he's got a point, and I feel for him. He's probably done 1/10 of the work of producing that child, yet he's paying for half. But that's fractions, and that's why it's confusing. 5 out of 4 people have trouble with fractions. But as a disclaimer, of course I don't believe that the father is any less responsible than the mother for the child. Grant actually has a 3-year-old son who he pays child support weekly for. And you're happy with that, Grant? Despite the fact that all you did was lend some sperm? Oh, he was adopted, was he? Why's that? Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, Grant's just saying that he's impotent. Oh, sorry, Grant. Did you not want me to announce that? Oh. Nah, I don't want to go back and delete it. It's stream of subconsciousness. That's the idea of it. What's said is said. We'll let it go, eh? They would have forgotten by the end of the episode. Don't worry about it. So that's Grant, struggling with impotence. Sterile, it means. Means your sperm is ineffective. Which isn't all that bad, actually. means you don't have to bother with contraceptives, do you, Grant? So there you go. You know, every cloud. You got to find a partner first, I guess, don't you? Still single, aren't you? Yeah, it was a rough breakup, wasn't it? Hey, you'll get there, mate. You'll get there. Let's move on from Grant and his depressing situations. Because you can't dwell on things. I say you can't. You can if you want. But nothing good generally comes out of it. You shouldn't dwell on things, is what I should have said. Forget about the past and look to the future. No, don't do that. The future's quite dismal, as we've just discussed, isn't it? With the apocalypse and that. Just keep yourself busy, then. Keep your mind off it. Do other activities. Do a giant 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Though they inevitably turn out to be 999-piece jigsaw puzzles. Probably one of the most frustrating activities you can do. I mean, I hate not being able to find things. I literally can't stand frantically looking around for something. Why the fuck would you want to make a game out of that? And then when you get to the end, when you're finished, and finally have found all the right pieces, it's not that great, is it? Ooh, look at what I just did. I recreated the picture on the box using all those tiny pieces. Why'd you do that? I guess just because it said to on the instructions. Yeah, but you didn't have to. See, now you've just got two of the same picture and your dining table's covered in cardboard. That's true. Well, I could hang this one up. Well, no, you can't. It'll fall apart. I'll glue it all together then. Kind of defeats the purpose. You're right, mate. I'll have a game of Scrabble next time. Just some generic dialogue there, featuring a puzzle enthusiast and a skeptic. But the puzzle enthusiast is right. He should have a game of Scrabble, because Scrabble's a great game. Without it, the English language wouldn't grow. I think that's probably the main way new words are invented in the English language, is by stubborn Scrabble players who throw down a word and then refuse to accept that it's not valid, despite the contention from the other players. And then they'll go to such great lengths that they'll get the word officially registered into the English dictionary. I have a new screensaver on my computer called Word of the Day, and it flashes up with a bunch of different words each day, interesting words that you haven't really heard before, that I haven't really heard before. So I've been trying to, what's the word? Expand my vocabulary by sitting and watching that screensaver. And it's working. I'm not working, though. That's the problem. I don't want to use my mouse, otherwise the screensaver disappears, so it's hindering my productivity somewhat. That's the problem with screensavers. If you get a really good one, then you don't actually want to do any work because it disrupts it. If you can remember the old Windows screensaver where you flew through space, I used to sit there for hours watching that because it seemed like there was some kind of impending destination. There wasn't. I honestly watched it for hours, though, half expecting to arrive somewhere, like some cool new planet. But you just kept going. You just kept flying through space. And that's how space works. That's one of the theories, at least, that the universe just keeps going. It's hard to comprehend how something can just keep going, because there's only one other thing that does that, and it's the Survivor series on TV. Only that lacks the kind of enthrallment that astronomy possesses. Astronomy's full of stars, and Survivor is just full of nobodies trying to be stars. But that's how reality TV works, and it's amazing how people can invest themselves into a group of strangers that really have no credentials to be on TV. Some of them are, let's say, less intelligent than your average person, and people use them as a source of entertainment, as if their own lives aren't entertaining enough. It's a lot like the Sims game, where you can play a virtual life. So you get to do all the things that you hate doing in real life twice. One for the real you and one for the virtual you. Now, I don't see the appeal in that. I hate showering. I don't want to have to shower me and my little virtual me. Find it hard enough to maintain healthy relationships with people in my real life. I can't afford to be doing that with a little pixelated friend as well. I did play Sims once, a long time ago, and I was kissing a girl within about 7 minutes of meeting her, which is completely unrealistic, because usually it only takes me about 3 or 4. But then I proceeded to cook her lunch in the kitchen, and I burnt it all down. She was quite upset about that, so I just took that as game over. You know, I had a good run. I kissed a girl, I burnt down the kitchen. I'm happy with that. Log out. I suppose that's the good thing about Sims, is that if you do really mess up, you can just start again. You don't really get that option in real life, unless you believe in reincarnation. Then you do get more than one shot at it. Only for your subsequent turns, you might come out as something rubbish, like a mollusk, in which case you might feel a bit hard done by. You might think, if I believed in something else, like Christianity, I could be in heaven right now, rather than stuck to this rock, trying to withstand this strange man trying to pry me off with a knife. That's why I don't think reincarnation appeals to me, because you're already the best species available as a human being. So it's only downhill from there. And the chance of striking humanity twice, are very slim, considering the vast range of other species out there. So I won't pick that religion. But I guess religion isn't something that you just pick lackadaisically, as if there's all your options laid out in front of you, like a freezer full of ice cream flavours, and you just say, I'll take that one, thanks, that one looks good. It's not like that. Otherwise you could mix and match. You know, you could get a triple scoop and say, I'll have a bit of Buddhism, thanks. Throw a bit of Islam on top. I mean, what's that strange looking one in the back there that no one seems to have touched? Oh, that's Scientology, sir. Oh, we'll throw a bit of that in there as well then, thanks. And give it a sprinkling of Christianity, please. Just so I know I'm not completely condemned to hell. And I'll have that dipped in chocolate too, please. Well, chocolate's not a religion, sir. Oh, sorry, we're still doing the analogy, are we? Right. Well, how much for all that then? Oh, that's free, sir. Religion doesn't cost a thing. So there you go. That's the religion/ice cream analogy for you. And of course, religion is free until you have to start paying. Because I can share the beliefs of Christianity, but unless I sort of attend church and donate to that church, I'm not really officially a Christian. Kind of like university. I could easily go and sit into a lecture theatre and scab some free education, but unless I pay the fees, I can't sit the exam. I can't be tested. So it's like that with Christianity too. Unless you're paying the fees, then the testing's not going to work out. You go up to heaven. Lord Almighty will proceed with the test. He'll say, right, well, what have you given back to the church? And then you have to say, well, nothing, really. But I believe in you. Isn't that all that counts? Well, no. Part of Christianity is to give back to your community, especially to the church. And then I can say, oh, that's all right then. If you don't want me in here, I've also got a scoop of Islam. So I'll just shoot over next door, where there should be 72 virgins waiting for me. God says, really? Is that what's behind that door? Yeah, 72 virgins. Well, that sounds like quite an effective draw card, really. All I'm offering is eternal bliss. But 72 virgins, maybe I should invest in something like that too. Yeah, you should, God. That's me, giving God advice. And that's also me coming to the end of another episode. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've certainly enjoyed presenting it. But until next time, take care. So I guess that means as soon as next time does roll around, you can stop taking care if you like. Toodle.